topics here will not energize or inspire you to grow your business. This is the beginning of the episode, which should be an exciting episode because I don't know how many people are actually going to log on, but it might be someone that we don't even regularly have on getting us sued today. And this episode is sponsored by a vacuum with a nail on it. Anytime you need a vacuum with a nail on it, head over to the Not Our Finest Hour podcast, and you can see all the times we're tagged in a vacuum with a nail on it video.
I think I want to bet. I think I want to bet on the under that would come up in this episode.
How could it not? You're just setting yourself up for disaster by posting. I actually commented that I thought I think I said, ignore the haters. This is an amazing product. I don't remember something. I said something like that to them. I don't know if they were real. Now, for the record, that particular group of people on that account have never responded to anything I've ever written on it. So I don't know if they will have responded.
The comment section on that was great.
Yeah, they have the same generic response for everybody who criticizes the product.
So I tried to, I attempted to copy and paste that so I could put it as my comment, but you can't copy and paste on Instagram for some reason. So I thought, I'll just copy that like 300 word statement and I'll put it as my comment on the product. It does say the product is not recommended for contractors. It's the homeowner based product.
I didn't know that.
This is the explanation of the video. The joint remover was not produced to solve or clean joints on large projects, but for consolidated troublesome areas, such as permeable areas that get filtered in and no longer drain, or areas where palmaric sand has broken down. So isn't that like big areas? It's palmaric sand. Like, I don't know any job where there was a small breakdown of the palmaric sand. Either it all works or it all fucking doesn't, in my personal experience. Hey, whatever. We also have had homeowners that absolutely want no water on their project. I've met a lot of homeowners. I've never met anyone that's like, hey, get a nail in a vacuum because I don't want no motherfucking water on my house. Like, what are you like, tarping it when it rains? What the fuck are you talking? And are totally against pressure washers because the high pressure takes the cream out of the concrete. I worked at a manufacturer. I've been in many, many plants. I've discussed the production and the building of the what do you want? I've followed the science when it comes to these pavers. I have actually followed the science on how they work. No one has ever mentioned the cream to me. So, I mean, admittedly, this may be something that I'm missing out on, but we have a tool called the joint cleaner, which uses high pressure air to remove the joint on larger paver projects. That seems. I hope you charge by the hour because holy fuck, this would take forever. Want to see if they responded to me. I would guess no. That's my.
I'm going to bring in a couple of our guests that are already waiting in the waiting room, and we can ask them about their thoughts on this.
Oh, I think they deleted my comment.
What's the name of this thing again? Just the joint cleaner?
What is? I don't know. It's called the Quickie Joint Remover. It's designed to remove your full joint, no mess alternative to pressure washing for smaller scale applications. I feel like they deleted my comment on it. Oh no, they didn't. It says
you're being censored.
It says fuck the haters. When everyone says you're wrong, you know you're onto something big. That's what I put. That's my commentary on this item.
Nick, Chris, Jordan, good to see you guys.
Hey, how are you?
Welcome to the beginning of the podcast. The topics here will energize and inspire you to grow your business. Well, they won't, but just so the three of you know, that's the kind of stuff we talk about here. We want to energize and inspire people to grow their business.
We're talking about a certain tool pave new tool that has hopped on the market that has everybody up in arms.
Well, I don't think people are up in arms.
Clamoring to get their hands on it.
Well, I would agree. They're clamoring to get their hands on it for sure. I'm assuming all three.
I'm convinced that they're trolling us.
Yeah, that can't be real.
No.
So here's a comment. People are against pressure washers because the high pressure takes the cream out of the concrete. Any of you guys know what the cream is? So are we 0 for 6 on the cream? Because I don't know what it is. If someone can educate me, I'm all fucking ears here.
I think you know more about pavers than anyone in this group right now, seeing as you've been to the many meetings.
All many meetings. I've followed the science on pavers. So I don't. Did any of you guys rush to buy this item? No. I can see you, but it's a podcast, so you guys have to talk. Sorry. I know that's disappointing, but you have to say no. You can't just shake your fucking head.
No, sir.
No, you haven't bought it? How about you, Chris?
No, we did not buy it.
Jordan bought 2.
Sorry, I missed that. I was turning my AC down.
Your truck went by me on the highway today, Jordan, with the whole side of it bashed in.
Yeah, that was Derek.
Perfect.
Sorry, Derek, calling you out here, bud. Yeah, basically his truck was then getting new tires and the yellow sticker, and basically he was beside a pylon, like one of those yellow pylon concrete sonotubes, essentially, and turned right into it.
Perfect.
Calls me, goes, I fucked up, man. Like I just like dented the side of your truck. And then an hour later I get a call from the property manager. He's like, hey, like one of your trucks like took out my pylon. It like he broke it, fell on the side of the on the road or in the parking lot. Derek says he didn't realize it. He called me right after it happened. And yeah, I was like, basically I told the guy, like the guy was a beauty. Still hasn't sent me the bill for it. He's like, yeah, I'll have my maintenance staff do it. It'll be like $200. I was like, sounds good.
Sign me up. That's the best money I ever spent. Because if I sent my own people,
send me the bill. I'll pay for it.
If I sent my own people, it would cost me $2,500, and it wouldn't be done right. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So now I'm looking. Well, I got a couple leads on a couple new truck beds, so that's great.
Perfect. Just went by me, and I was like, "Oh, remember John telling me he wasn't driving his truck anymore, but he's driving the 1500."
No. Well, the 50. Yeah, I was driving the 55 for a bit, but yeah. Oh, okay. So, anyways, yeah, pays to have a father-in-law that's in the automobile industry.
That's the truth. I could use one. I have a lot of dented shit, smack shit. So, Mike, what was your goal with this episode? You're the one that said you wanted to bring people on.
There was no goal, but we do have one more guest coming in. Nick, you are outnumbered right now. These are all Ontario guys versus you, but don't worry. We're letting John Seegers in, so you'll have another one on your side there.
All right.
But how's everyone's season going so far?
It's going.
It's going.
Well, Jordan's is going spectacular. So far, he's bought a pylon in a parking lot. So there you go.
100%. Hey, it only cost me $200 and a truck bed, but hey.
Well, that's replaced at your discretion, though.
Could be worse. Like I've had, a pickup truck stolen and a Kubota stolen. So I mean, really, it could be worse. I've had worse days.
You had worse days in 2023, particularly.
Yeah. So they found the guy. They arrested him, but they didn't find my machine. My machine wasn't there. 3 other skid steers and trailers were there, but mine wasn't.
They didn't arrest him fast enough to save you.
No. We only had, security footage and everything possible, but,
Sounds about on par.
You got it.
Here in Canada, it rains every day. I don't know about where you U.S. people are, and it's awesome because it just pours rain 30 to 50 millimeters, which I don't know how many fucking inches that is, but quite a few. It just pours that much rain consistently every day, all day. It's fucking great. And the days that it doesn't rain all day, every day, You literally can't see your hand in front of your face because of some forest fire happening in another province, which is also super fucking awesome. That's about how things are going in Ontario currently. Well, for me, I don't know about the rest of you.
Yeah, this week's been fucked. Fucking rain and smoke, and then we decided to take Friday as our short week day for the long weekend, which always seems like a bad idea now. I wish it was next week, but yeah, I think we've worked about 2.5 days so far this week, so why not finish the month strong?
We've had yeah.
I mean, we've been lucky so far, though. So, gotta count our blessings. It's been a
can't really complain,
right? So,
I don't know. I feel like it's rained all year. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I am a hyper negative person.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
Look it up. Let's see how many days it's rained. I think you're probably right. I
actually think it's been pretty dry year, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like that's why we got all these forest fires.
I guess that's legitimate evidence that it hasn't rained that much, that everything is burning and on fire. If it had consistently been raining, that might not be happening. So I might lose to you there, Jordan. I think I only remember weeks where it rains every day because it fucks up. I know. Comes on here, makes me look like a fool.
It wasn't what I was trying to do.
Not even doing it to myself today.
Oh, there we go.
John.
Yes, sir.
How do you feel about vacuum? You missed the vacuum with nails on it conversation.
What's that now?
Oh, well, he doesn't know. Oh gosh. Well, there's what you do is you have a vacuum on a nail and then you clean out the paper.
Oh, I did see that joke.
Well,
yeah,
I think someone's trying to
list, but
John, references like that could get us sued. We are never critical of other people's products here.
Sorry.
That's odd, dude.
I thought this was a no filter podcast.
It is a no filter. Yeah, I know you're good. I'm just joking with you. So did you order one, John?
No.
I heard they're $1,500.
That'd be a sale. Yeah. That would be a sale.
Well, perhaps they are a sale. I don't know. 1,500?
No, here's what I need. I need like a micro vac truck. Do they have those in Canada? Like vac trucks?
Well, we have vac trucks.
Yeah. You can get
so like, what if we had like a micro one? Blasting out polysand sucks. So like if we had like a micro one that we could blast out the polysand and suck it up at one time, we could like not have sand everywhere.
Wouldn't you be worried about the cream coming out of the concrete though if you were hitting it with a pressure washer?
The cream coming out of the concrete?
Yeah, the cream coming out of the concrete. Is that not something that worries you when you hit it with a pressure washer? It worries me a lot. Well, it does now. I didn't know there was cream in concrete until I started reading the comments on there. And now I'm actually regretting all the time. Like my life is flashing before my eyes. It will just consistently be all those times I power wash driveways and pavers.
Yeah, I try to avoid it.
You just get your rep to do that.
Gotta keep the cream in the concrete. Maybe we'll have to Google that. Mike's probably Googling it now.
No,
he's not.
I'm trying to see if we've got questions.
We always have questions. I have a bunch of questions that I never answered on my own Instagram.
I sent you many of those, and
you sent 3, but other people sent them too. And then I meant to respond to them, but then I got distracted by life. Life dragged down my social.
I've got a Canada question.
Sure.
What's the equivalent to Independence Day in Canada? You guys celebrate this weekend coming up.
July 1st is Canada Day.
Canada Day. Oh, nice.
It's the day that we begged and pleaded to become a country, as opposed to coming up in arms and making sure we were.
We waited them out.
We waited them out. Yeah.
We fucking waited them out. Hey, we're one up on Scotland. They waited them out and then could have become their own country and then voted it down. So we're one up on those motherfuckers. I don't know if anyone here is Scottish, but that's just true. So we waited them out and we didn't reject it after waiting them out when they freed us. So there's that. I mean, I feel like that's a small victory. Vicious country that we are. I view Canada Day as another day in Canada.
Yeah.
Except you're not supposed to go to work. And I have I don't know how many of you on this podcast have managed people for a long period of time. But the question in management that drives me the most crazy is, what day are we taking off?
Yeah.
Every fucking long weekend. What day are we taking off, man? And I'm like, I don't know. The fuck, the same one we always do? Monday? There's only one that moves. I guess it causes a lot of confusion. We have like a company group chat. What day are we taking off? Like, oh my God. Turned into like 500 messages, 10:30 at night. I'm like, can we all go to bed?
The day that has the most percentage of it raining. That's what day we're taking off.
That's the day.
It's every day.
Do people still ask for bins on Canada on the long weekend?
Only after 5:20, right?
Only after 5:20.
Jordan, was that you?
Definitely wasn't me. I'm a good client. I'd like to think I am. I've been voted off the island.
No. He hasn't been voted off the island once. Not one time. One person asked for a bin tomorrow and then asked if I could pick it up Saturday morning.
Yeah, I need a bin on Sunday
before
and
his
Monday
Canada
night.
Day party.
Well, and that one is also in Toronto. So I was like, fuck yeah. I would love to drive to Toronto on Saturday morning of the long weekend and hook this bin.
Yeah, who does work in Toronto, right?
Fucking Toronto people. A lot of people are doing work in Toronto.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why you would ever do that.
I don't know. This is definitely good for logistics.
Oh, 100%. It's great.
We don't always go to Toronto, though. We go to Toronto for you. Some other people that are reliable, but there's some people that... Cody did pick up a bin half full of garbage this week and then promptly threw the garbage all over the front lawn and then picked up the bin without the garbage and left.
Nice.
Yeah.
That wasn't my site, was it?
No, it was the same job where last year she got in a fight with the people before she even put the bin down. Well, she put the bin down, then got in an argument with them, then hooked the bin and left without leaving the bin for these people. And this is me getting sucked in by a bin broker again. And these people are so bad with bins that they keep getting different bin brokers, but Cody keeps showing up to the same fucking address. For like, this has been going on for a year now. Because she called me, she says, same fucking place. Should I put the bin down? I was like, I guess. The guy already paid for it. So. And she went back, she goes, the bin's full of garbage. I'm like, whatever. So she threw it all over the front lawn. But the bin business is...
We got a fine for dumping garbage, mixed garbage at the dump. They wanted it hand sorted, hand picked. They wanted the recyclable stuff or the wood in one section and the plastic in the other section. Said, we're gonna have to fine you $80. I said, that's fine. Because the whole load only costs me $200. So you can have the $80.
Was this like a large load or just like a pickup truck?
No, it was I've been truck. So
okay.
Probably a tandem's worth of garbage, but
we're barely allowed to get out at the dump. We got to wear reflective vests and hard hats here. So, wow. I mean, they don't even want you outside the truck for more times than it takes to lift the box up.
Oh, you got to open the barn doors and undo a bunch of latches and everything. And the dump guy will get out of his wheel loader and help you. And
oh, man.
Oh, yeah. He'll pull you out if you get stuck. It's great.
Here in bumfuck Western Wisconsin, we don't have to go to dumps. We just find farmers that need ditches filled. We just back up and dump everything right in their ditch.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That sounds like Cornwall.
That sounds like Cornwall.
I can't believe you even haven't started going to the dump, Chad. I thought you just burned shit.
Yeah, we have way too much plastic to burn. I told you about the pot story. I can't afford any more heat on my property. Any more black smoke billowing above the horizon.
You're responsible for the smoke that's enveloped Toronto.
Yeah.
Personally responsible.
Not me.
We have short 10-yard bins, and on Saturday it was pouring rain, and I was out picking up bins, and one of the bins was only loaded to one side, but when you pick up the short bins with the trucks, on my trucks, the 10-yard bins are almost vertical. So I picked up the bin and it started spinning on the hook. But this was like during some like tremendously huge rainstorm, and then I couldn't get it lined up. And it was on someone's driveway, and I was like, man, I'm gonna fuck the driveway here because I gotta like spin the bin 100 times. I just needed it to catch one of the rails, and eventually it caught one, but then it snapped the bin sideways, and I was like, well, here's hoping this driveway's not fucked. I just drove away.
Wow.
Because I was also frustrated with the contractor who had loaded it all on one side. Because I'm like, I had meant this week to launch a how to load your bin webinar. Like start at the front, work your way to the back, load it evenly across. I feel like I'm there now, like a how to load your bin webinar.
I think you could put that video on Mike's How to Hardscape HQ training center.
Training?
Yeah.
Yeah, how to load a video on the HQ.
Yeah. They have to get certified before you can give a bin to the client. They have to be certified on loading it.
To become a PK Prime member.
Yeah.
Must go through training.
My favorite thing about the endless rain is the constantly soaking wet soil and bins. It's super awesome. Trying to get them off the ground.
Jealous of all this rain, man. I don't know what you're talking about. We don't get any of that.
Where are you, John?
Either. Like,
really?
Yeah, it's been dry. Like ground's cracking. I mean, watering bans. Like this is Midwest. We're not California. We've been getting it pretty bad.
Wow. We've been getting hit pretty good.
It said it was going to rain 40 mils a day for the last 3 days, and we were lucky to get maybe 5 mils in 3 days.
We got the full 40.
You got it all.
Both days.
You can keep it.
Thanks.
We got work to do here.
Yeah.
Well, I don't. So it actually just extends this tiny amount of work that I have. It like extends it. I was at a quote this week, and it was 2 older retired people. And it was in Whitby, and they said they had a small patio, and I was like, okay. And it had the worst access ever. And I was like, normally I would just turn and say, I'm really sorry, but I don't. But I actually spent the time to price it, and I was like, this is my level of desperation, baby. This is.
Would you say the Mammoth is going to allow you to do that patio job?
Should have got the 36.
6 inches too odd.
Should have got the 36.
It's 6 inches too odd.
Yeah. No. Well, if you tie back the shrubs and take down the panel and drive through, there was. I felt like we could do it with our E20 and our buggy. We don't have the Mammoth anymore. The Mammoth went home. We were all sad.
You didn't opt to buy it at the end of the year.
He didn't give it to you?
Program.
No, he did not give it to me. Although I think I know he sold at least one Mammoth because of us.
Okay.
We did give it glowing reviews. And we did have it for a month, so I feel like it was pretty. And he did offer us. Mo from Mammoth offers us an excavator, so there's that. We might try out an excavator this next week. But again, we don't have that much work, so it's hard to try out the equipment, other than show it like spinning around in the yard. So, but yeah, I guess that's the positive of the rain. When everyone works half days, it extends the jobs. Yeah, that's the
travel time.
One of them actually asked me if they could go work with you for a week, Chad. Couldn't we just go work with Chad for a couple weeks? I'm like, I guess. Sure.
Yeah, absolutely could. Because
like, okay, I guess they can.
I'm up to my chin in work. Like I'm treading water, barely above. It's we just landed another one today. I think 300 or 400K.
Wow.
For next year, yeah.
Nice.
Great little project to work on. Local, 5 minutes from my yard. You can't
5 minutes from your yard.
Yeah. Anything in Cornwall is 5 minutes from my yard, but
I guess that's true.
No. The GC left 3% on the table on a $30 million job.
Wow.
So that was a sharp pencil.
That was pretty.
Yeah.
We lost the job once by $8.
That
was tragic. It was like I had to go meet the boss he was so devastated by losing.
You can't even be mad about that though. The estimator did their job.
I met him there and I was like, yo, bro. Well, he was the estimator, right? So I said, yo, bro, like something else will come up. And then the next day we picked up the biggest job we ever got. So
yeah,
just one of those things. I've been actually doing follow-up and stuff on some of my leads. So I'm amazed at the speed at which people work. That's always like commercially, like I've forgotten what it's like trying to follow up on stuff and try to close jobs. Haven't done that in a long time. So super fun. Good times. But anyways, how about the rest of you? Busy, not busy, closing work, not closing work?
I'm not closing work, but like, yeah, we're lucky enough to be booked ahead, but like not closing work right now. People are just so, excuse my language, fucking cheap. I don't know how people do shit so cheap. Like, it's ridiculous. I don't know. It's stupid. It honestly doesn't add up to me. So, yeah.
I've had that trouble this season so far.
Put a lot of effort into quotes and designs and all that good stuff. Like, it's not just, hand a napkin sketch and so on and so forth. But yeah, it's hard to close work right now for fair money, at least.
Yeah, the job I looked at was 200 square feet basically, and there was like you had to fix the trail to get in and out and put gravel up the side of the house. But I think I have a whole file folder here of jobs that I never got. I'm sure it's at the top. So let's see. I think I was like $8,000. $8,900 for this job. Now, keeping in mind that there's no access here. So, but I was like, well, it's under 10 grand. Any project under 10 grand nowadays is like, it's got to be pretty reasonable. Like, it's pretty hard to keep something under 10 grand and even do anything at all.
Yeah.
And the lady emailed back in 30 seconds and completely rejected it because it was way too expensive. She had no idea it would be that expensive. And I'm like, gas is $1.50 a liter. Like,
isn't rent in Toronto like $10,000 a month?
There's a guy doing pizza reviews that I watch, and he's buying pizzas in Toronto, and a large pizza in Toronto is $48. I'm like, this woman thinks that anyways, I agree with Jordan, just that I probably would have priced that job a lot more last year, but I'm just looking for stuff to do. So I priced it fair, and I priced it to where I thought the market would be, but I did not get that work. So, but maybe in my world that seemed like a economical price, but in some other contractors' world, 200 square feet of hard to access stone is worth $4,000. I don't know. There's probably someone out there that would do it for $4,000.
100%, especially in our community or certain people. There's the 200 contractors that popped up during COVID that are trying to stay afloat and pay for the dump trailers. So.
Chris, how are you guys doing residentially? I'm assuming you're pretty booked up commercially, but what about residential?
Yeah, residential, we're good. We're kind of the same as Chad, like just trying to get everything done and stay above water in terms of schedule. And, I'm a big people pleaser, so I don't like to let people down. And we try to push and work hard when we can and keep up every promise that we make to people, even though every client adds like 4 or 5 things to their projects and 3 or 4 days of work to a 2-month-long project, which doesn't seem like a big deal. But when you have 4 crews and every crew's on a job for an extra week, it cuts into your schedule pretty hard. Residential is going good. We're booking in quite a few decent sized jobs for next year already, residential wise. So that's good to see. Commercial, we got tons of stuff. Couple, maybe between a few of our commercial crews, we probably have, 3 or 4 weeks, maybe 5 weeks worth of work left to fill for the year. But again, there's change orders on half the shit we do. Like, we're doing a job for an unnamed city right now, and the job was like $350K, waiting on all these crazy permits from like all these entities that have their hands in the project and on the property that we're working on. And we're working on a change order for that one that's probably about $1.5 million right now. So like, there's so many things up in the air in terms of timelines and projects and everything that are kind of like up here, and we just grab them and pull them down whenever we get approvals on stuff. So we definitely need space in our schedule to be able to do that. It's just, we're at a tough point right now where we have a ton of stuff to do, but it's the old like hurry up and wait for half the stuff. So we're trucking along, but we're definitely concerned that there's going to be a point towards the end of the summer where the stuff that was supposed to happen back in March or May is all going to, go ahead at the same time. So trying to gear up and plan for that as best as we can and just get as much shit knocked off our list now so that when that time comes, it's kind of hopefully smooth sailing into the fall at least.
Nice.
Yeah, no complaints here. We're super busy and just trying to get stuff done and keep everybody happy.
As John walks out to his backyard patio, it looks like that kind of leads into a question that we did get. How does a hardscaper choose the pavers that they install on their property?
I have pavers that were discontinued that I got really cheap that no one wanted.
I was going to say supplier discounts.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yep.
I have autumn red Teckle Block blue pavers in my backyard, which actually are very nice. I actually really like them.
I like that color. I miss that color.
It is actually a very nice because it's not a real red; it's red beige mix, and we were sitting out there last weekend, and that's what I got them because it was discontinued, and there was 8 skids left in their yard, and they didn't know what to do with them.
The whole industry has gotten rid of red because I was looking on a project the other day, and they wanted something with a red tone, and
there's not a lot left.
Yeah, you're right. I don't think there is any.
Unless you go clay.
We don't have clay in Canada, so we had clay pavers once. Oaks had some clay pavers one time, but they weren't very popular because there's too much freeze thaw and they just never. But yeah, no one makes red anymore. I guess
there's a Block Teco red right now. Merlot.
Oh, Merlot, yeah, in in the little baby square ones.
It's in Bellagio too. We used a bit of that this year for the first time. That was all right. So now I have half a pallet sitting at my yard that's probably going to rot. If you want to buy it, Mike.
Perfect. That's what I need.
Unilock's always been pretty good to us.
My new back patio.
They've always given us.
I was going to say my new back patio.
Oh, John's got a nice.
Yeah, they took care of me in here. I mean, they did nice stuff.
So how did you choose those pavers?
I'm more of a country look kind of a guy, so I was going with Bristol Valley, which is a Unilock paver. It's got like a tumbled edge and it's sealed real well for the elements for all the big leaves and walnuts and all that kind of stuff that can drop on the patio. Nice. So we did ours 8 years ago, so it's getting to that point where in order to stay fresh, if I'm going to continue to use it for local clients, that I got to think about redoing it again, but I don't know. Cool. It looks nice.
I bet if you got...
I'm going to step out here, guys. I got to...
Yeah, no problem, brother.
Thanks for dropping in, man.
Thanks for coming in.
Nice talking. We'll chat with you guys soon.
Sounds good.
Take care.
Take care.
Yeah.
Have you considered getting a vacuum and a nail and cleaning up the patio?
I have.
That could be the answer to your problems. That you don't necessarily need to redo the whole patio, but maybe you just need to vacuum out the joints. That could probably.
I've been doing it with a double penny nail and a grade stake duct tape together, but now that this vacuum is out, that's
it's handy because the nail is attached to the vacuum, and you wouldn't want to have a vacuum that just vacuums, and the nail and the grade stake the nail and the grade stake. Yeah, there's no that. Well, for me,
I'm a tall guy. I'm 6'6". I don't know. You got to have a lot of vacuum extensions.
Just wait till the attachment for the end con comes out with the EC oil.
I got to be able to spin it. That's why I've been holding it out. It doesn't spin. That's the problem.
And on vacuum nail.
Can't believe that.
That's where your mini vac. That's where your mini vac comes in, John.
Yeah.
Put that up to the Encon, and you're in business.
Yeah, I'm sure IQ probably is going to partner up with that crack cleaning tool. Yeah, that's
dustless crack cleaning.
Dustless. Well, they built it for people who don't want water on their property.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick to a turbo nozzle, I think, for now. But yeah, well, I'll keep an eye on it. Maybe the pre-sale, pre-order.
I gotta say, this year I've encountered at least 3 clients that were like, "Do not bring water onto my property at any time."
Really?
No water. I'm just joking. It's a stupid thing. This is developed for people who don't want water. Like, I've never met anyone who's like, "Don't bring water to my property." I have more people saying, "Bring more water to our property. We want water features in pools. Bring on the water." Not, "I want nails and vacuums and no water." Never been requested. May have not done a full market analysis.
Do they crack down on dust in Canada for like OSHA? I don't know if Canada have OSHA.
Do we have OSHA?
Yeah, we have
bylaw.
We have limits, or that's bylaw. Yes,
Bylaw, is that what it calls? Do they crack down on like dust or have fines? Like it's getting pretty good on the north side of Illinois.
I
I just
got
think
in
Howard
trouble
goes
once.
first.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, it was. We just waited till the lady went back, and we were cutting right across from Ministry of Environment, which apparently enforces that sort of thing. So, we just went. The next day she wasn't in or something, and we cut anyway. So
we have like code enforcement officers that'll show up like lights blaring and
Holy shit.
Hey, where's your water hookup, and or what are you running? So mainly when I go to a northern section that I don't like to go to anyways, but
do they have like the full bulletproof vests on?
No, they're more compliance or inspection officers that are just looking to keep dust down, I guess. I don't know.
Do they carry anything on their tool belt, like a flashlight or anything?
I carry more in my belt than they carry in there. That's for
sure. That's a life's calling. When I was a small kid and I was in kindergarten, and they said, "Make a drawing of what you want to be in the future." I drew a dust enforcement officer. I guess I was a visionary.
Wow. Code compliance officer. So they're just making sure.
That sounds better. I like that.
Code compliance officer. So they're there to, they got to show up to measure, make sure your post holes are 42-inch deep below the frost line, but half the time they don't have a measuring tape and they borrow yours. So figure that out.
Wow.
So how often do you have to call them? Like anytime anyone's doing a project?
Oh, it depends on the village. I mean, by us, you can have permits that are $75 and just have a final. Or you could have permits that have 8-9 inspections and are the permit fee is a percentage of the job. So I think the highest percentage was 5%.
Wow.
Jesus.
So you're like,
that's a lot.
So in all of our contracts, it's set up to be like, we'll assist in permitting, but we can't keep up with what town does what, and it's on your dime.
It depends on the town.
Yeah. So each town has its own rules. It isn't like a state code or something like that. And then if you're not incorporated in a town, you're in a county, and the county has their own rules as well.
Wow.
And compliance officers.
And it's the stupidest stuff. Like, like Indiana boys laugh at me all the time because they got none of this, but like parkway trees distance have to be 30, but no more than 35. Like there's all this like stupid town stuff.
Yeah, are you talking like daylight triangle from intersections?
I don't know
with
about
the
that.
Trees. Oh, that's something that in town of Whitby, you start planting trees too close and they're in the daylight triangle, so people can't see what's coming around the corner. And
that does make sense though.
I planted a whole bunch of spruce trees once on this guy's front lawn, and then when the town came, his comment to them was, "I have more money than the town of Whitby, and I will sue you into bankruptcy, so your check bounces. Get the fuck off my property."
Right
on. And the guy from the town packed up his shit and left. And I was like, I guess this guy does have now he did. The contract we had with him, this is like 12 years ago, was like $475,000. Like it was a lot. Like it was maybe it was 375, but this is like 10, 12 years ago when that was like what people were paying for a fucking house. And when I sent him the contract, all he sent me back was "go ahead." That was it. Perfect. Go ahead. That was the whole. And I was like, okay, like, should I order the pool? But yeah, that was his comment to them when the guy said that the trees were legitimately in the daylight triangle. And I had legitimately said to him, yo, bro, people are going to get pretty pissy about this. Like, you can't see around the corner and people could die. And he's like, I want privacy. Right, whatever, man. You.
At one point in my life, I'd like to live somewhere where I can say I have more money than the entire town.
This isn't a small place.
Making that a life goal of mine, to move somewhere where I can say I have more money than the entire town.
When he said go ahead, I Googled him and it came up that he had recently sold his company for $40 million. And I'm going to assume that he wasn't broke when he sold the company. Like he wasn't like destitute living under a bridge. He probably had some money as well as that. So he was a good guy. He was actually one of my first clients when we relaunched Paper King. He called me out of the blue because he had bought a house that he thought his wife would like, and then his wife didn't like it. So he thought if we landscaped it, then she might like it and she might move there. But he was keeping this house, and this is this is like 10,000 square foot house in Whitby. And he's like, I'm keeping it till August because my wife wants to check out the bug situation on the porch. I was like, you bought this fucking house and you're keeping it for a few months because your wife wants to check out the bug situation. And then I think he spent like 25 grand landscaping it and never lived in it. I owned it for like 2 years and then sold it because his wife didn't like the bug situation.
Nice.
Yeah, he's a fun guy. He hasn't called me in a couple of years, but he usually calls me every once in a while for some.
Hey, sounds like you need to reach out. Be a little slower.
Yeah, I need to reach out to him and be like, hey, bro,
how's them bugs? You know?
How's that bug situation? Can I help you with it? Like,
did you just buy a new house? Because that makes sense. You probably need help.
Yeah, can I help you with that bug situation? Yeah, he was. I think like I'm not actually too. I mean, I guess you don't get worried till the day you run out of stuff to do, and then you just send everyone to Chad. But they're coming, bro. I'm not batting very well right now. Oh, I'm actually not that worried about it. Like, whatever, it'll work. It always works itself out.
Yeah.
Someone will call me.
We got a lot of stuff cooking, but like everyone's saying, it's not signing. There's backlog and stuff I'd like to do at the shop, and like I said, you can always lose a week at your own house. It seems like, but that's the kind of stuff that I like to do in October, November, not August, September. So,
yes,
exactly.
I have a job that I priced at the university, and admittedly, when I met the guy the first time, he said, "You need to understand, this is the university, and it's very slow." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." I priced it. It's been like a year now, and I'm like, "Hey, bro, am I like getting?" He's like, "Oh no, you're gonna get the job. You were low bidder. You like, we're giving you this job, but we're like on month 11." I'm like, I've actually driven there twice to be like, "Did they do this?" And this guy's just giving me but they didn't do the work. The guy's not giving me the runaround. He's just being dead serious. That I have noticed that at that place, if someone goes on holidays, everything grinds to a halt. So that person returns. There's no.
Sounds like the GC anytime I need to get paid.
Yeah.
Oh, that person's on holidays this week. We never got your invoice. It's going to be another month. We just did the check run.
Just did the check run. That's my favorite line.
Yeah. You missed this check run.
You missed the check run. I'm so sorry.
No, you missed the check run. My invoice was in.
Hey, we take credit cards is usually my response. Oh, yeah. Sorry about that.
We do not.
Yeah.
Maybe you should start taking credit cards, Chan.
I'm not about to lose 3% on a job just because someone doesn't think that they can pay their bill. They should have the cash.
Apparently there's Ontario prompt payment legislation. Hasn't helped me.
What's that now?
It's called prompt payment legislation. I haven't looked into it yet, but someone was telling me that now, and it's in Ontario now, that you have to get paid for the work you did within 30 days or something. And I was like, sure.
It's
really been effective for me.
That?
Sounds promising.
It's been super effective to me.
The problem is,
any of you offer financing? Do any of you offer financing?
No,
I do not. I feel like I've delved into people's lives too much already.
Yeah.
With the rates going up the way that they are, it's easier to budget in credit card fees than it is to budget in contractor cost on non-secured lines for residential lending. Like contractor fees that I'm seeing are like 7 to 9%. So they're just killing us on the, like, if you've heard of Enterbank or any other unsecured under 100K lines for residentials.
Do you do that, John? Do you offer financing?
I do, but I usually try to pass the buck, and that's getting trickier and trickier with the way the rules are for passing credit card fees or application fees for the unsecured lines out there, like Enterbank or Acorn or any of the other ones.
How do you bring that up? Does the client bring that up to you, or do you typically, whenever they get into adding more and more features or thinking about design, do you kind of say, hey, we can hook you up with some financing as well if you're wanting to get into that?
It usually comes in a meeting 2 or 3 when you're actually getting down to their real budget. So let's just say they had a $30,000 budget, but they're just loving that $15,000 bar grill island or whatever it is. And the conversation comes up, like we all know, like, hey, it's cheaper to do it now. If I did a return trip, there's probably an extra $2,000 in restoration costs that I'm going to have to get all this equipment back here, blah, blah, blah. You know the story. So it's actually cheaper to look into financing this portion of the project than it is to have to call me in 6, 12, 18 months. And then that opens that can of worms to be like, well, what do you offer? I go, well, there's a lot of fees. There's a lot of stuff out there for contractors, but they have a high contractor cost. Can we look into your local credit union or bank? Otherwise, there's always the opportunity to, if this is indeed a 6, 12, 18-month project, there are credit card companies that give you bonuses or blah, blah, blah. And that's the cheapest money that I can offer you as a contractor. But encourage them to obviously do their due diligence and research.
Gotcha. Interesting.
But I mean, I'd rather do it all at once, and I'm sure all of you would. So
yeah,
whether or not people make smart decisions or not, like that, I gotta disconnect myself with that. It's not something I would do, but I mean, it's not the common thinking.
So yeah, like I always struggled with, like, I mean, the manufacturers, a couple of them have pushed up here for us to, you know, start shilling finance companies as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always struggled with it on a level of like, I try to avoid ever going into someone's house.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even want to set foot in someone's house, and I try to avoid at all costs our staff going, like, we have a bathroom delivered the day the job site starts. We have no reason to ever go. So I've done lots of properties where I've never been in the house, and I still feel like I become too involved in these people's lives. And the part of financing that's always frightened me is now I'm like super involved in their life, like helping them with financing, because it was always presented like we would be doing the actual, like, give me your incomes. It just seemed like I was going to get way too involved with it. And I was like, it made me uncomfortable. So, but that was just me. That doesn't make it, like, I have no moral judgment on it. If someone a grown person makes a decision to finance their patio, that's on them. That's got nothing to do with me. It just, I felt like I was like, people are calling me now because they're pool coping, the cement cracked over the winter, and that, you know, it's totally legit, but that kind of stuff, I'm like, I don't want someone calling me like going, hey man, the finance company fucked my credit rating, or they're taking my house, or I don't know. It seemed like a deeper cesspool of problems for me. But maybe, like, you've been doing it for a while. Have you had that happen? Like, maybe I'm exaggerating it in my brain to problems that don't exist.
You just have to set the groundwork. So that's one of the things that I lay off. Like, hey, I'm not in financing. I'm not a banker. I'm not somebody, you know, but let me give you this number. Or now they have it set up as an app. So I think it's at 87% pre-approval. So the client gets on the phone. I usually tell them, like, hey, here's the number. Here's my contractor ID. You call this number. You're going to give them some information. They're going to do a soft credit check. And please take this phone call in the other room in the garage, whatever it is. It literally would take less than 5 minutes. I'll go over the design again here. And they come back and they're like, yep, we're good. Here's the phone. Yep, they're pre-approved. After that point, I don't know what APR they got approved for. I don't know nothing. All I know is that I get e-doc signs when it's time for the draws. So it's usually 250% draws. Both parties sign on each side, e-sign, and the money's in your account less than 3 days, less the contractor fee. I don't, like you said, like I don't want to get into what you can afford and what you can't. That's what they do on the phone. I do follow up with clients who've used it. I had one client max that out probably about 6 years ago when it was at 75 grand. And just based on his pay structure, some people get paid annually all at once. It worked good for him to do a 6 or 12 month. And then for the short amount of interest that he would pay, he'd wash it all off when he gets his annual check. I guess that's how some companies do things. So, I mean, it's hit and miss. I probably 1 for 20 clients that take it on, but it's better than saying no, I guess, than saying that we don't and then somebody else getting the job because they do. I don't know.
Have you ever been screwed by someone not signing off on something?
No, I haven't gone down that road. I try to make it one of that has been a fear. So then I try to make the one of 2 draws. The first one be the deposit and the second one be the on-site or material delivery payment. That way I know that's done. And it's not, I don't know. I just feel like it's easier that way, but I have strengthened up the contracts. I got burned 2 years ago. That one's still in court, and it teaches you a lot on what to re-put in your contract and how to be secure.
Yeah, I've had a lot of learning curve with lawyers this year.
I'm with you.
Going on this week, even it's like this massive stupid chess game.
It takes so long.
It really does. And
yeah,
it's not geared for the contractor. That is 100% clear. I mean, even a dumb negotiation can cost me $2,000 in attorney fees. It's like, I don't know.
It's like for us, we're having trouble getting like a statement of account from our lawyer, and then our lawyer's making us feel foolish because we asked for it. And I'm like, I don't know, man. Like if one of my clients asks me how much they owe me, I can tell them almost instantaneously, hey, this is where your account's at, or this is how much, this is how many bins you got last month, or like anyone calls me, we can tell them anything. And this lawyer's like, yeah, we'll wait till the case is set because there's been a settlement offer, and but within the settlement offer, one party is legitimately not super happy about the settlement. Like I need this to leave my life. So I'm like, I don't really care. I just need this to leave my fucking life. Like I want my $180,000, but I also need this to leave my fucking life. Basically, is my take on it. And but other people don't have the same take, and it's and the lawyer's like basically like, I don't know how long this is going to take. I don't know how much it's going to cost, and I can't tell you how much you spent. And I'm like, wow, this is a shit way to run a business. Or maybe you're just a shit fucking lawyer. Like
you get updated monthly and a week behind. So I'm not sure. We get a monthly statement and it's always a week or 2 behind. So if I get July, I'll get it probably like the 2nd or 3rd week of August. So you're always like, dang, that sucks because I already talked to you a bunch in August. Like, wait.
I don't even know. Like we had to give them a $4,500 retainer for our case.
Mm-hmm.
So then they were spending that.
But that's Canadian, so that's only like what
$40. Yeah, $40.
That's a large pizza in Toronto.
Large pizza in Toronto.
I just keep dividing every number you say in half so I can get like, okay, that's normal. Okay,
like 30 points. I think it's what's it 70 cents on the dollar now?
Yeah.
The 2 people I used this year were both $5,000 retainers, so 10,000 Canadian, whatever. I think it's like a 2.2. I don't know what the exchange rate is, but. So the retainer's not a bad, but you're going to blow through it pretty quick at what is he, like $320 an hour or something like that? So $640, I don't know.
Wow.
That's so. I don't know how much, because we're part of like a bigger. There's like 9 or 10 parties involved, and like all of them have to initial something. Like it's so fun. Like everyone
Did-
has to agree
Do you
between
get
10.
a group discount if you all use the same lawyer?
Well, I feel like we should.
I think you should.
Well, I think that we should like. I think some of us should pay more based on the amount we're trying to retrieve, and the people like because all 9 people have to sign, but some people are trying to retrieve much smaller amounts of money than me. So I feel like those people that are retrieving way less should pay less, like because otherwise, why would they sign? Like they're like, fuck it, I'll just write it out. Like why?
Yeah.
It depends what the settlement is, I guess. But in our case, I understand why they would be hesitant to sign because they're like, well, it's like 22% of my settlement to the lawyer's fees, and for me, it's like I don't know, like 4%. So for me, it's advantageous. I'm like, yeah, sign this, get it out of my life, move on with my life. But for the other person, like I'm losing 20% of my money. I'd rather wait it out for 2 years because it's such a small amount of money. I don't really fucking need it anyways. But then they trap 9 of you together, making you all sign. It's like fucking extortion.
Have you gotten a bill yet? Like, I love how you get the attorney talking to other attorneys in the firm bill. Have you got one of those yet?
No.
If you get like Smith and Johnson lawyer, you'll get, oh, I conference with Smith concerning this. You're like, wait a minute. I'm paying you to talk to the other people in your firm? Yes.
Was that during their golf game or?
Yeah.
Then the other one is like researching case law. So you're like, oh, he knows the case law for this, but he has to make sure that it didn't change in the last 6 months. So you get like 45 minutes billed for confirming that I know what I know and then confirming it with my partner. You're like, what? I'm like, I want money every time I go into the product data guy to confirm I know what I know. That's what I want.
I like that. I think that based off this conversation, I'm going to look for attorneys moving forward that don't have a partner.
That's exactly
because then they can't talk to their partner and invoice you for it.
I want the single man operation, but you get billed for secretary time too, so you got to watch out for those.
Secretary time.
Oh yeah, that's like a third of the lawyer time, but it's still like, yeah.
So we haven't been. We had a statement of account in January, and I've never looked at it because I'm a horrible person when it comes to any of this stuff. Yeah, I'm terrible at anything. That I'm good at about 4 things, but yeah, I haven't looked at it, but I couldn't even achieve getting one this week. I was like, really, man? Like, aren't you going to bill me for processing this? Like, yeah, I've learned a lot of. Basically, what I've learned is that I think partially we as a company have never been through it because we either work residentially, which I've knock on wood, not encountered someone that wouldn't pay me residentially in 30 years. And commercially, Paver King only works as a subcontract. So really, it's not normally the client that owes us the money. It's the person that we're working for. So it's their problem. But this time, because of the way it is, we're involved in it. It's like the first time I've really, and at the last company where I was operations manager, anytime there's any kind of lawsuit, we just immediately settled it and moved on. We didn't drag out anything. We just immediately were like,
there's some logic in that.
Well, they'll always make, like the GCs used to always make us an offer. Like if we had one where the GC was in a dispute over $450 million in extras, and we had like $85,000 of that. And they were like, listen, take $42,000 and get lost. And I was like, sign us up. Because I don't want to get dragged through the mud for $450 million. Like, can you imagine that? Like, it just, and yours, I was like, sign us up, get us the fuck out of here. I don't want anything to do with this. And it was all for like sod, with some sod extra that had fuck all to do with us. So whatever. But I've never been involved as this in any kind of litigation, I guess. It's not my forte. I hope it never is.
Me too.
So did you have like a couple clients that were just jackasses or?
Yeah, we just had something like everything's good until the final bill. Everything's approved. Everything's kosher. signatures, everything, and it's just, yeah. I don't. What was the issue? We had my lawn maintenance guy said he could have done it for less.
Cool.
That was one of the lines that I got. Like he said, it should have cost half of what you're charging, Mike. Interesting. You should have had him do it.
Sounds like an expert.
Yeah. So then yeah, it's still going on, so I can't talk about it too much. But what a ruckus! That's a big one.
I find that like
2 years.
Yeah,
still going.
You knew what. I'm assuming you told them what it cost before you started.
It's usually how it goes. Yeah.
Yeah, they just randomly show up and start digging up someone's backyard and just send them a bill. Like, fuck, that seems pretty. But yeah, I've thought about the situation we're involved in, and I thought a lot about what I have done if I was in exactly the same situation today that I was 2 years ago when the whole mess started, or even 3 years ago, actually, when it started. Would I change any of my behavior, and would I have done any single thing differently? And when I ran through the whole 3 years, I'm like, no, I would just end up back in the same fucking place. Because it wouldn't have, it doesn't even make financial sense. Like, even though we're trapped in this at the end, it doesn't make financial sense over the last 3 years to have bailed on all the good stuff that happened and all the great things that we accomplished. And with the company, financial wise, it still doesn't make sense to change my behavior. So I would just keep walking the same path. When I analyze where I am on this job, I'm like, I don't know what I would change, because I would just end like, if I changed, I wouldn't change a single thing. So that means would walk the same path again. So, that's the shitty part about it. It's not even, I can't analyze it, stop it from happening to me again.
I mean, I learned from all my mistakes. So, I mean, whether or not they're going to happen again, I can't say. But I mean, if you're not changing things after, if you're not making notes for your downtime to change up your contract, or, I mean, I can't tell you how many benefits this has had for my business with the way that we now do DocuSign change orders and change job site funding, and everything has got turned upside down because that's what it takes sometimes. So to say that I'm thankful it happened, I don't know, but it did make some positive attributes to the company and the way that we do things.
I think for us, I guess the one thing we learned is we need to have a more diverse. Like we have one client that's way too big.
I could see that.
It's way too much. And that was a lesson. It's a hard lesson, but it's a lesson where it's like, we have one client that's over a third of our income per year consistently. And so this year we've diversified a lot, and we're doing a lot of other, part of it just because that's what we have to do. But I think that's one, like, even when that was all going on with us, we were like, okay, we need to figure out how to do. It's not healthy for any company to have that much coming from one place, because if something happens to that one place, you have too much infrastructure built around that. The one decision I think that I made was good. Like, we went with using 2 broker trucks. We have 2 broker axle dump trucks that work for us every day. And I think that our decision to do that probably cost us some money in terms of like earnings, because obviously a broker truck is earning, we're not making the same level of money off a broker truck that we would off it if it was our own. But on the flip side of it, this year obviously is maybe not the best year ever. We don't have the overhead of 2 more trucks, so that might be like, something that we learned too, is that sometimes it's better to sub out. Essentially, we're just subbing out some trucking work, as opposed to buying all of our own stuff all the time, because it's obviously more profitable to own our own stuff, but sometimes it was just better not to have that. Those trucks are $300,000 a piece now, so it was better not to have that $600,000 sitting in the yard all winter, or I mean, we're busy right now with the trucks, but there are times when they're slow. First thing in the spring, and if it doesn't snow if it snows in the winter, we're super busy. But if it doesn't snow, and I think that's we learned a lot about cash flow and doing stuff like the broker trucks. So I guess we did learn lots of lessons, and it did force us to change some things.
We've been changing it up a little bit with renting our equipment out to reputable contractors, and that's been working out well for me. Friends, what do they say, that cooperation over competition or something like that. But if somebody's ditch witch goes down, that's a non-rentable machine in our area, or excavator or roller or something like that, to people that I know and trust, and that's created a decent amount of cash flow per month. I mean, it probably takes care of one or two pieces of equipment monthly payments just by renting out machinery that we don't use every single day. Whether it works for everybody or you have the right clientele to do it, you can't rent it to Joe Schmo. Comes back in two pieces, but people people you trust.
We would never do that.
Some sort of rental agreement or something.
Yeah, we got into it when we did snow equipment. So I did 6 skid steers one winter, leased them out for 4 months. So I put together a rental agreement based off the biggest person in our industry, in our area, and it worked out really well. So then I started opening it up to summer usage on some of the equipment, like a certain size excavator or stuff that doesn't go out on every job. If somebody needed it for a day or two, it's crazy what rental places get for that kind of stuff. I mean, even something small, $300 to $600 a day. You're like, and mine sat at the shop today. I mean, what are they going to do that I didn't do? I don't know.
I've never been a consumer of that by a contractor ever in my life.
No, never renting.
No, Jordan and I are just joking. Yeah, Jordan and I are joking back and forth because he just had my 8-ton on rent for like 6 weeks.
So
5 weeks,
maybe 7. I'm still waiting for the final bill.
Yeah, maybe
the first one. Still waiting on the last bill.
But that you're right.
A week and a half before that.
So yeah, like what you have. I have a lot of buddies in the industry that are close to me that they might have an 8-ton excavator, and then you're like, dude, I need a 2-ton for this little job. You got the perfect machine. What do you say? Or somebody who's laying slabs with a lifter, like, dude, my motor just blew up to pieces. I still got 1,000 square feet to go. Rent me your vacuum for a day or two. I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. Opening that up. Sometimes you're not charging people, obviously, but I found it to create good cash flow.
Did you hear that, Mike? Sometimes they're not charging people. I'm just joking.
I tried. I'm trying for you, Jordan.
If it was for a day, I wouldn't like.
No. Mike's hey, if you need a rental, call Mike. His rental is very fair. Very fair. Good guy.
On the flip side, I wouldn't rent it to everybody. Like, I would rent it to Jordan and Derek. That's people that I know very well that we do a lot of business with. But I wouldn't. If some random
the other 6 people on this podcast, you want to rent it to them, right?
I would rent. Yeah.
I'm just joking. Joking.
I would transport Chad's equipment.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't rent him any of my equipment. Well, but see, I guess by transporting the equipment, I did rent you my truck. I just supplied the operator.
Yeah, you did.
When you get down to it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I may need you to rent me another truck. I get a water truck down here.
That's what really our bin business is, though. It's just a rental business.
Yeah, just a rental business. Right?
It's just people renting bins off us.
I need a Chinese excavator for rent.
Yeah.
Ooh. I've got
21?
3 left.